Hey everybody, welcome to EDL 856, Module 4, Understanding My Community. I'll be looking at USD 223, Lynn Schools, where I'm the principal. So customs and traditions around here, we've got our homecoming, both football and basketball. We have that. We celebrate some holiday celebrations, Christmas Eve, where students present on the night of. We have German-themed gift bags that go out to all of the kids that we have. We've got other community suppers before ball games, and we've got one even tonight before the play that's going on. We also have a breakfast night that happens once a month at the Legion. The Lynn Legion Chicken Fry, which is monthly, and that is a very well-known regional activity. We have community Easter egg hunts throughout the month. Washington County Fair. We've got our Lynn Picnic, which is a part of the fair. Lynn is the school we're at, and there's actually only 395 people in Lynn. So anything like Wednesday night church nights we have, which are kind of our customs and traditions, all practices are done at 5:30, and there's not any activities that go on after that at the school. And then we also have community mission festivals where money is used to support our missionaries. And all of this information I was able to receive by interviewing one of my colleagues, which was really cool. Population characteristics, our educational attainment, the breakdown as we don't have as many that have four-year degrees. We have quite a few that get vocational degrees, and then there's a lot of family farms and businesses around the community that employ right out of high school. For the age part, in the past few years, there's been many younger families. They've moved in and they're kind of pushing towards getting things, becoming more proactive with how we spend our money and what the community looks like. Our larger occupations and corporations that we have, farming and agriculture is probably the biggest, but we have Titan West and Lynn Post and Pipe, which are manufacturing. We have Oldie and Meyer dairies. I believe there's and then Willow Creek dairies. Those are very large dairies that employ a lot of our students' parents there. The race in our community in our small town is about 70% Caucasian, 30% Hispanic, and probably the predominant historical race was German American, and then 30% of our population is of Mexican descent. Communication channels that we use, some of the main ones is social media. We are always on Facebook. ThrillShare is a cool app that allows you to post the single piece on multiple different areas, Twitter, Facebook, and whatnot. Twitter is kind of for our younger population and generation. The Facebook is definitely the older population. And then we also will use broadcast media, such as KCLY is our local radio station out of Clay Center. They will give coverage for sports and other news events. Washington County Newspaper, Washington is just 10 miles away, and they will cover our student stuff and some of our community events as well. And then they also have Blue Valley Television that broadcasts community events and whatnot over that too. These communication methods are almost exclusively used throughout the community, and we use ThrillShare, probably the most effective for getting to everyone else, and then the older community relies more on the newspaper. When we're trying to communicate with families at the school with our high Hispanic population, we do put things out over email and whatnot where we can translate and get that information out to them as well. Community groups that we have active, we've got the PTO, of course, at the school that meets monthly, supports our student education. They provide funding for different things as we go through the school year. We've got a couple of different booster clubs. The booster club for the school is called the Bulldog Backers, and that helps like our activity funds and our sporting events. And then we have our community booster club that will support the school, students, and other community projects. We've got band, music, and art support groups. We have our local 4-H club, which almost all of the kids are into 4-H around here. We have our local church groups, the Lutheran community, and then there's also, along with that Lutheran community, there's a private Lutheran school where we share some of our educational responsibilities. The Lutheran school has 1st through 8th grade, and it's a private school, so not everyone goes there, but our numbers are about cut in half in those grades here at Lynn Public School. And then we've got the Lutheran Youth Fellowship as well in a church group. So that is kind of a snapshot of our community groups. We've got kind of a unique makeup. There's a lot of history, but as of recently, we've had different populations of migrant workers moving into the area, which has changed things a little bit, and it makes for a very diverse and a very cool school group. Leadership stuff that we will talk about in the community. It says community leaders usually have the following characteristics: easily accessible, wide acquaintanceship, contact with information and sources outside of their immediate circle, and special competence in dealing with certain matters. So some of the ones that we have for leadership in our community, we have our Rotary, which is out of Washington, and that plays a vital role in some of the decisions made in these small towns. We have our city council, who the mayor is Alan Oldie. Some of our key business leaders would be Kyle Peters, and he owns Lynn Post and Pipe. We've got Steve Oldie, is the owner of Oldie Dairy, and we've got Shane Oldie, the owner of Oldie Seed. The Sons of the American Legion are a big part of that, and a big part of our community as well, and they support our small town and our school. The president of that is Ryan Oldie. We have Lynn Auxiliary, and the head of that would be Jolene Hers. And we have our PTO that I mentioned earlier, and our PTO president this year is Angie Rogie. And we have worked together with almost all of these organizations to, create a relationship and promote, our students and to make everything that they do the best possible. Our economic conditions, some of the local economic conditions that we have around here, and the public's attitude towards the financing of public education. So economy in our small town is strong despite the fact that we are so small. It's strong because of the amount of ag that goes on. We've got farms, we've got dairies, we've got corporations, we've got manufacturing. So we have so many jobs that are still open right now that I say that anyone that wants a job has a job. We are struggling to fill stuff at school, but other places are also struggling to find people to work. So in terms of the availability of a job, there are plenty of jobs available. There was a tornado that wiped out our new gym and our weight room, and kind of interesting, this was the year before I came. The community came together, helped privately fund the new gym and weight room, and then they also helped build it as well. The community members around here are very supportive of fundraisers. There have been zero bond issues or proposals for many, many years, and there's zero outstanding debt for the school. So the school only has operating costs currently. So, and that's, there's not a lot of push for adding mills or adding tax dollars to the amount of farmland that we have out here, because there's kind of a limited amount of people that live in our area that it would affect greatly. Some of the social tensions, it says schools must be fully aware of the cause of tensions and the level of discord among groups in the community. Some of the social tensions that I was made aware through an interview with Kate Olson, which was a lifelong community member here, is that there is, as of recently, a high Hispanic population coming in. And most of these people coming into Lynn are coming to work in the larger dairies and the big corporations. And they are being brought over through the migrants and migrant workers in agriculture push, and many of them work, like I said, the dairies. Some of them are at Lynn Post and Pipe, but they are living in our community, and about 30% of our population in the town are through the migrant worker program. The cultures, some of the tensions exist because the cultures don't interact much with each other. The students do great here at school, but the adults are a little bit more separate because many of the adults have never been around the English language, and so there's a definite language barrier that separates the English speakers from the Spanish speakers. The parents are not an issue or don't cause any problems. It's just it's hard to get our entire community represented when there's a language barrier there. Political stance, we're a very conservative small town in Kansas. Opposing political views are not well accepted around here, so we are very conservative, very much grounded by our faith, which is what I said, our faith guides our beliefs. The school and community, with the Lynn Public School being the first through 8th grade is about 50% Hispanic, 50% Caucasian, where Lynn Lutheran for 1st through 8th grade is 100% Caucasian. And the Lynn Lutheran is interesting because they have a large endowment, there is no enrollment or tuition, and they have a very strong tradition, which Lynn Lutheran has been around for many, many years. So previous community efforts, the projects that were undertaken, we've had no bond elections in many years. There's some new recreation facilities. The community gym and weight room would be that. That would be funded by the community and built by the community, which was really interesting. Grants to finish the swimming pool are in place right now. This is a small community that doesn't pay for projects, but they're more likely to do fundraisers and actually provide the money. They avoid any government-funded projects. I believe that's based off of the taxes that would have to come into play, and donations from our larger organizations, our larger farms and families are very common. The power structure. So we've got large companies that back our school projects, the companies that support the things that are important to them, and community members try to influence as well when you're thinking about that, the individuals that are vested into the school. So power comes from their involvement and influence. I said that community is passionate, and they will often lobby together in groups. They will debate over things for many months, and when it comes down to a vote, it almost always passes unanimously once they decide. Micropolitics and societies, we're a small size of town, so some of our smaller micropolitics societies would be Lynn Legion Group, the churches, businesses, and even like community groups such as the Lynn Booster Club. Who works from behind the curtain? In this small town, a lot of the work is made public, so there's not a whole lot that was told to me that would be behind the curtain work. Multicultural issues. Leaders must find and understand the need of cultural communities to understand the benefits that they can bring to the educational system. So, some of the things that we do for our diverse population and for addressing multicultural issues, we had just had Hispanic Heritage Month. We had a fundraiser for scholarships. We raised over $500, which was matched by a private donor. We have translated community messages. We have school interaction. Anytime it's translated into Spanish. Sometimes we have students that come in to volunteer. Other times we will have translators brought into the school. There's no school dress code that we have currently. And some things that I think are relevant is we struggle to get the Hispanic community into the schools. And we're desperate need of representation. Language and customs could be honored and celebrated more, I believe. So that's some of the issues that I think need to be addressed. Public opinion, the community pride is evident here in Lynn. History is often referred to, such as our old programs, Ags and Woods programs, and how things used to be. The younger generations are starting to move back, and thus change is starting to take place in kind of our mindset and the way that we view things. And there's a lot of younger people pushing for change. What should be done to increase these public understanding, support, and participation in the schools? Well, the community involvement nights and opportunities need to be a priority. We need to pull from all segments of the community for support and recognition. And we need to recognize everyone as people instead of cultures. And we need to get more of a united front for our kids.